When my mother walked down the street, men noticed. She smoked cigarettes which she had me retrieve from the corner drugstore with her handwritten notes. Her hair was dark and matched her eyes. Her spoken voice was soft, even a little low for a woman. When I was 8, they took her from me, called me a foster child. As stated by the National Foster Care Institute, in May of 2017, 20% of foster children who are 18 become instantly homeless. After leaving foster care, they lose access to financial, educational, and social supports provided through the child welfare. Despite these odds, Andrew Bridge overcame great difficulties, obtained a college degree, and even graduated from Harvard Law School. Currently, Andrew defends foster children in the state courts of Alabama. Hope's Boy by Andrew Bridge. My earliest memory of my mother was her absence. This swath of loneliness reminded me of the San Joaquin Valley, the great stink of the farmland. My mother and I lived in the other Hollywood, the one behind the Hollywood sign. North Hollywood had none of the pretenses as its southern cousin. And though not poor, most lived only a paycheck away from poverty's bite. As I walked into the apartment, Luis yelled over the television's blare. "Your mother left you a sandwich. You better eat it. I'm sick of you wasting good food." In the nearly bare refrigerator, I found a sandwich. I walked into the living room, sat cross-legged over the couch, a few feet from Luis, but still in the television screen. He laid on his back, ignoring me, and laughed stupidly at the afternoon programs. I looked at Luis, and hatred swelled inside me. I despised him for the food that he ate, the space that he took, and the bed where he slept. Why had my mother let him in, and why had she let him stay? I got up, walked to the television, turned the channel, and sat back down. Luis turned and looked at me, and he yelled, "Turn the damn channel back!" Ignoring him, I thought to nothing but a little boy sat alone with the man. "This is the last time I'm telling you. Get your little ass up and turn the channel." His hand clapped on the back of my neck. He picked me up and threw me to the floor over and over, looking me in the face each time he screamed, "Turn the channel! Turn the damn channel!" To his every command, I answered no. He gave up on whatever he was watching, dropped me one last time, and stalked across the room. He picked up a glass table lamp, slammed it, smashed it on the floor, and he ripped the electrical cord out of the stem. He grabbed a fistful of hair, dragged me to the bathroom floor, tore off my shirt, ripped down my pants and trousers. The cord snapped across my spine, over and over, around my back. He finished with about a half a dozen swipes. When my mother got home, Luis was back on his couch and with his television. I was sleeping in my bedroom, fully dressed. From her voice, I knew she was tired. She lifted up my shirt. Then she was silent. Her hand touched the thin crisscross of the welts on my back. Who did this to you?" she asked. I was silent. It was Luis, wasn't it? Yes. My mother never told me what happened, what she did to Luis. All I know is by the morning, Luis was gone. I know it may not be right or fair, But when Luis came back, he intended to take everything. He arrived in the middle of the night. I woke to my mother's screams. I ran to the kitchen, and what I saw was my mother pinned against the far wall with her blouse torn, and Luis was in front of her holding a steak knife at the base of her neck. I watched as she gasped for air. After that night, what I remember most was the silence. My mother never talked about what had happened that night. Only a slight warning. People can be dangerous. The days that followed, my mother's fears broke like fevers. Her mind consumed her. Her voices convinced her that a group of men had kidnapped me and that there's only a way to prove herself. With no hesitation, my mother had agreed. She found a plastic bowl and a razor. She had carefully pressed the blade into her arm, and as she watched the blood drip from her veins. Having collected as much as she needed, she had smeared my name across the bathroom walls. Andy. 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 I saw the deputy grab my mother's shoulder, and for the first time ever, I raced to protect her. Suddenly, I pulled away. The deputy's hand pressed on her head as his knee was in her back, and a social worker rushed me into a waiting car. I had tried my best, but I was afraid of the voices. Unlike her, I needed to survive. I needed to